All right. Fun stuff. Okay. Well, in about 9 minutes, we're going to figure out what the hell is going on with this. And we're going to be able to talk more about it. It's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to see. Could be terrible. Could be wonderful. We don't know. But I'm excited for it either way. Stuff that we're really hoping for is we're really hoping for heist adjustments. Let's see. There we go. That makes sense. This is what we're hoping for, right there. So. We'll see. We will see. Ooh, trap buffs. Oh, we'll take trap buffs too. Trap or mine buffs. We'll take those two. They don't need them, but I'll take them. You know what I mean? I will take them. I don't have a problem with that.
Let's talk about...
I do look like this guy, huh? A little bit.
Let's talk about...
Yeah, a lot of subs. Interesting. Yeah, I do kind of look like Vsauce. Gaming Vsauce, I guess. And obviously we're kind of going to have to talk about, like, what the implications are of what gets announced, right? It's not for nothing, but, like, obviously depending on what's announced will change what people do for builds and things like that as well. But the patch notes are not going to be out for a bit, so there's not much that can really be said too much about it until that's out. All right. Well, here we go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and today we're here to showcase a new expansion for POE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now.
We have our shit
Path of Exile
together.
Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June, and we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both POE 1 and 2. That means the next POE 2 League will be in August, and the next POE 1 League after that will be in October.
Okay.
Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off. And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories, made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul. These manifestations
Pretty
must
cool
be
bosses.
destroyed. Their threads must be eradicated.
There seems to be some new
I must
skills.
have answers. We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
The power is an illusion made real.
New pinnacle bosses, new crafting mechanics. A complete, so you don't have to deal with King's Mark as much anymore. Rune graphs, what the fuck?
Drink deep.
Betrayal. Ice reworked?
You're in for a climb or a target?
Target inside.
Just done.
Mercenaries of Charthus, what the fuck is that?
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas endgame update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Charthus. After that, we'll cover the integration of gold into POE 1, and how we're bringing Settlers of Kalgur into the core game. Finally, we have a much awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life improvements. Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our Boss Kill Race event, showing you our new supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A session, where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions from Twitch chat. In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned, and appears to be trapped within. Partway through
Zana's
the
back.
endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her. Okay, so that's the story background, but how does this expansion actually work? In The Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your Atlas, a thread of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort.
Okay.
As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps. Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power. As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice. There are many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together.
Wow.
That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go, so the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have. This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits, where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying. In this map, you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tiers. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the Moment of Reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread. Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles. Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them. If you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Starcaller unique abyssal axe.
It's a two-hander.
We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass. The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage.
Alright, that skill is
Shine,
probably pretty
however,
fucking
is that
strong.
in melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill. With the right build, you can carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies.
Yeah,
as
and
you
it could
rain
be
down the elements of
given support gems.
Another
in
item you may
weapon.
find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask.
Grants a random
It
divination
consumes a
buff
lot
for
of
20
charges,
seconds.
but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff. If you draw the Escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill. Effectively, you can think of this unique as being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant.
Interesting.
Okay, but let's get back to the business. After defeating all 3 new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding. With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount up to 100.
Okay.
This does a few things. When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be. On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it. The Orb of Unraveling will consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes.
Huh.
The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them. In other news, there of course has to be Atlas passive tree support for this new in-game content.
Secret unique.
Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky.
Oh, this is gonna
means it
be
will roll the number of
this is
memory
gonna be
strands twice,
incorporated
keeping the
permanently
highest
already.
value.
They don't make
By
these changes
allocating
unless it's gonna be
traumatic
permanently
experience, remembered
incorporated.
kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run. This is especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real, as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting
Honestly,
her,
it doesn't
find
seem that
crazy
hard.
new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items. While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new endgame system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do
Gold was
that.
introduced during the Settlers of Calgar expansion. It funded the development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus. Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services King's March has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry, King's March has already been completed. There will be no more town building. Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league. It's time to talk about Mercenaries of Trathus. In this league, you will meet veterans who have travelled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities, and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped. After meeting them, as per the Trathan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction. Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills. You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting their items too. They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases
That's
to
very
cast from Arcane
strong.
Surge also apply to movement speed, which is worth noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage.
Wow.
Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Almost at me. Well, not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not
Correct.
they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided. When I'm playing a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike, and if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well.
What?
I also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back. Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them, then defeat them and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised.
What?
You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at
They
a
have
time,
special
but up to
gems?
3
What
total in your
the
service.
fuck?
The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup, like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign.
And you can just replace your
and
gear. You haven't literally Anime
If your
Guardian.
mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated. If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries. If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathan arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalguran ones too.
Wow.
As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionized Watch. Black market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC. This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique.
Actually really useful at
currency
the beginning of the
exchange will
game.
be returning too.
Like, really
Starting
useful.
from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades.
Faustus is in Act 6, okay.
Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalguran workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalguran ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats they grant. The Kalguran ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node. For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats,
10%
Some are more
increased
common,
damage for each unlinked
others rare.
socket and a
You
two-hander.
can only use one of a given type at a
40%
time,
increased
but
global
you can use them on any
defenses.
mastery on your passive tree, which can be
War cry
particularly
speed
useful
100%.
for off-class investment.
10% reduced attributes.
Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together, and it has a success chance you can see. This method can result in the items being destroyed, however it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects. Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way. By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable. As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts, using those to modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before.
Interesting.
Following on from that, we've also made a substantial rework to another important mechanic: Betrayal.
Betrayal.
And to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: Transportation, Fortification, Research, and Intervention. As you encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning.
Oh, don't fucking tell me it's not going to reset anymore.
This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long saving?
That'll be huge.
Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic. The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop the safe house leaders at high levels. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate.
On.
You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time.
That's a huge fucking
The
buff.
boss fight itself has also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards. By the way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace. The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other safe house leaders. In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers. All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs in in-game maps with different types of special monsters. These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards. For example, you might use the All-Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding. It is our intention with All Flames to provide many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the All-Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All-Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters. Something akin to meat sacks, which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too. Another is the All-Flame Ember of Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items, but when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters. All-Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you. The Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitterbind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes, such as +1 additional Spectre.
Wow.
Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the safe house rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many safe houses. For those who aren't aware how these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result. But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree. Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this Reflecting Mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise. And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This orb also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits, and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item. There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique. For most sprees, the rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines. Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them. They are instead found at the entrances to boss rooms and in-game maps. On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items. You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on gamepad, and select which veiled modifier you want to unveil. Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Shut up!
Now before we get into our quality of life additions,
Oh no.
let's talk about some character balance.
Character
We're doing our
balance.
regular character balance changes where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells, adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and
Oh,
Champion Ascendancy
Saboteur?
classes,
Hold on.
which includes
Whoa.
our favorites from some of the ultimate
Oh!
classes like Freesia,
Projectiles 50% chance of a turn to you. Oh my god. Hold on.
in-game crafting,
Hold
betrayal
on.
crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle unique items,
Oh
new
my
modifiers and
god.
crafting options for the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character. It's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any. You can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu, or by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also be paused if any lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain Pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing. We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes and monsters imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same applies to essences with the Remnant of Corruption currency. Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now reroll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will reroll the base map and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach. On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby. You no longer have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember
What the
your last
fuck?
search.
Get out of
This is
here.
remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on.
So we've seen this before.
There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch
Patch
of Secrets of the
notes.
Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new Pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathis League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered, either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies. You are the law while wearing the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate. The Spider Blossom pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in two forms. Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise, or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers. Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration. It will keep track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed. On top of that, it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies. The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through.
This is all just microtransactions.
Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood. Looking to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed, as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest time. It also comes with a scoreboard, so you can try to set new records to show off to your friends, or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment. The Sacred Archives map device resembles a magical library with the works of scholars that come to life when you open a map. This map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps. These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile Mercenaries of Trathus. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathus League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of the Atlas.
And then the new Winter
With
Orb
release at the end of
is 8 stages versus 10
Our
stages.
community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news.
Has more damage? Uh-oh.
Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to dueling mercenaries, fighting new pinnacle bosses in the endgame, and exploring the new crafting systems and character builds next week.
Video is
We'll
buffering.
begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Welcome back, Exiles, to another...
Oh boy.
I expect very large Q&A covering all that we have to cover for Secrets of the Atlas. I am, of course, joined by Jonathan and Mark. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for chatting with us once again.
Always great to have you over.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for being here as well.
Yeah.
That's it. There was a lot of... I think pressure on this one for you guys. Like, it's been a long time since we've had a big Path of Exile 1 expansion.
Sure.
A little laggy.
How did you guys feel going into this, and how do you feel like you've been able to deliver?
I mean, honestly, I'm like pretty happy with where we're at. Like, it isn't a, like, you know, it isn't a full year of.
Let's see if we can reload and see. I'm not unmuting a commercial, bud.
Like, go a lot smoother, and like, you know, I'm pretty happy with, like, you know, effectively we were kind of got
Technical difficulty. Oh my god. Yeah, they're trying to fix the technology problem they're having. So loud. It's loud for me. It's gonna be loud for you guys. Hey again. Microtransactions are ruining games, but at least this one don't make you better at the game. I spent in a few years over $7,000 on a game. They shut the servers down permanently, and I cried. It was a game called Parallel Kingdom, one of the first games that used your real-life location in game. Gotta love modern tech, LOL, forever having difficulties in one way or another. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. I mean, not for nothing, but they had 140,000 people that were watching, so completely understandable. They have drops enabled. Oh, all right. Well, at least I got the drop. Claim that. See if we can we'll wait for this to yeah, it was a bit loud. But we're going to be playing Project Diablo 2 in a bit, and then we're going to be trying to think about... Oh, there we go. Alright, I think they got their shit together now. The downside is that the build that we've been using for the past couple of months or past like freaking 11 months basically, is gonna get nerfed in Path of Exile, which is PS mine, and because of that, we're just gonna have to deal with that, you know. So But PS Mine is
Apologies.
not going to be
We're back
great.
with some Q&A for the Secrets of the Atlas. We've got a nice big one. We're going to restart with a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we're ready to get into a nice big
Here we go.
Q&A session here. So I did ask the question that after nearly a year since the last...
We'll watch a
Path
little
of
bit of
Exile
this and
release,
then...
it feels like
yeah.
there's a fair bit of pressure on this one to be something pretty major, but also
The
to show
PCs
that
are...
people
I've been
still
PC
love
gaming
and
for
care
a
about
while
Path of Exile
now.
1 and have a future
Totally
for it.
worth it.
Sure, yeah. So, as I was just saying,
Expensive,
I feel
it's
like
totally
we've
worth
finally
it.
got our shit together as a studio now, as I said in the intro.
Mm-hmm.
So we've sort of changed our approach. We've we've merged the development teams back together. We kind of got everyone on one floor in the middle layer, like all the developers. And now we're kind of making it so that we're effectively moving people backwards and forwards from POE 1 and 2, sort of as needed. And that's definitely a much better structure for us because it just means that we get all our best people can work on whatever game needs it right now. We've always worked well with kind of the fixed in the past, sort of with the fixed
Wait for the
deadline
patch
model, where it's
notes.
we have a fixed deadline, but if we and what's in the patch depends on what's ready by the time we get there, and I think that's just
An
kind of
Amiga
much better
500,
for
wow.
And so now that we've kind of
I
got
grew up
that,
with a
this really
Nintendo,
represents,
but
what we can
I
deliver
eventually
sustainably, what
got a
we can deliver
PC
in 4
and
months, and so we'd expect
from
to
there.
see
I've had a
this kind
PC
of,
since I was 8.
amount of content every 4 months, as we go forward, and for POE 1 and 2 as well. So now that things are back, I would say we're kind of back in our stride again. Things should go a lot smoother from now.
In sum, we're back.
That's not what I
We're back.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, we're back.
I do feel like that. I feel like the reception's been very positive so
Yeah.
far, and I've been having a bit of a chance to play around with mercenaries, which are exceeding my expectations in terms of how fun and powerful they are. I feel like you guys have made them really powerful too. So
We've honestly been talking about making a mercenary for probably 5 to 10 years.
So just the premise for anybody who's watching that doesn't understand, Path of Exile has not put out an expansion for Path of Exile 1, a real expansion for probably about 11 months. So people have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for a new expansion for Path of Exile 1. So the fact that they're finally putting it out and it's coming in a week is pretty cool.
I've always wanted. And then, it was at that, and I'm like, oh, now you're never going to do that because you did this instead. And then literally next league.
Pretty cool.
Mercenaries finally. So was it like waiting on something? Was there
Old school computer games were jarring. I played a game on the Amiga that used to laugh at me every time I died. It was infuriating.
One thing that wasn't
Yeah, that's got to be infuriating. What game though could have been?
The mercenaries do count as half a player for the purposes of drops and monster difficulty. And so that's going to kind of change the calculus a little bit. You're effectively getting 9-player difficulty and loot, which there is some differences to the way that works now. But,
So the mercenary counts as a half of a person in a map.
That's why we've kind of got that situation going on.
What?
It means at best, if you're a more bad build, bad character, new player, whatever you want to call that, they're going to carry you probably, or could carry you. And at worst, if you're, the power of 10,000 gods and have infinite everything and screen coverage and DPS, then they're just boosting your loot, right? So there's a flaw there on either side that is just going to be beneficial to every single player. So
That sounds like absolute beautiful chaos, like 6-player party plus 6 exile mercenaries.
Our initial design had it that you could have up to 6 players, or 1 player and, I guess 3 players and 3 mercenaries. It was like a mercenary takes a player slot is what we initially
That was
had.
the initial way to think about balance, but I think it wouldn't have been nearly as good because you want the mercenary to be part of your build to kind of feel like it's actually because it comes with auras and things like that. Like effectively that all becomes part of your build at that point. So it's kind of important that you don't have.
This is Path of Exile 1.
Didn't want to have
This is
the
Path
thing
of Exile
you
1.
join your 3 friends and then whose mercenary gets used.
Exactly.
They're basically adding mercenaries to Path of Exile.
So it's we ended up getting away from that and just.
Now technically that's a temporary thing, but who knows? It could wind up being a permanent thing. We have to see.
It's fun.
Depends on
you can also have
what they want to
Dynamite
keep,
Guardian, and
what
you
they
did
don't
tell
want
me
to
that there's
keep.
changes for that as well.
So.
Yes, of course you can have. In fact, I expect a lot of people to now have. You have your 6-player party with your 6 mercenaries and everyone with them Animate Guardian because. How can you add mercenaries and then have a point to say that they don't drop loot when they die and also not make the same change to Animate Guardian? However, If they do die in the instance, you can't bring them back. So at least there is still that penalty to having them be weak. So if they just die at the start, they're gone.
Yeah. Until you play another.
It's going to result in a lot more people using Animate Guardian in their build. But now you have to gear up your character, one Animate Guardian and one mercenary. So we'll multiple mercenaries technically. So we'll see how the itemization and trade economy goes in that regard. And
yeah, I mean that's kind of cool though, is like having all that extra demand for gear and. That's,
so Animate Guardian is ability where you have a Guardian and you can give your Guardian items. And typically when it dies, all the items are gone. But in this situation, apparently they've reverted that. So Animate Guardian, the items don't go away anymore. So it's a lot more useful.
Every 4 months, and you've got a much more strict kind of like approach to that now, where you were saying to me like,
yeah, totally worth it. I think Path of Exile 1 is really good.
It's not going in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas before you would push the date, I felt.
Exactly, 100%. So we've been in the kind of push the date mindset, I would say, for like a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And in the past, we were never like that. We were way more strict with it, and I think it was definitely beneficial to do that. The issue was it was so hard to develop POE 2 at the same time when we had all that stuff. So now that we're kind of like in the mode where we can support both with the release frequently, it means we can kind of go back to that model, and as I said, I think it'll just be way better.
I just want to make sure we are always going to be that whole like plus or minus 1 week flexibility, because you have things like
there might
holidays,
be like exactly.
conventions,
right.
clashes with things and all that. So obviously you get that.
Yeah.
Just before we get held to the strict to the day.
Been on AC Shadows since release. I've been looking for a new game to try. Yeah.
You go back to that. I think there is it is very, very important.
I heard Assassin's Creed is good. I mean, Project Diablo 2 is good.
Game of which many of our players are. You have that.
I will say that Path of Exile has an extreme learning curve, and my recommendation would be to start playing Path of Exile using a guide. I would 100% never play without a guide, even if you're stubborn enough to not do that. You will get hooked and just waste your time. You may not even get through the campaign if you don't have a guide, like legit.
It has a toll on the team in terms of them like.
Not a meme.
It's hard to make content, I imagine, and just not have it get shipped. Like, because it's the date's
I mean,
being pushed out.
It depends on the person. Some people kind of like actually prefer that more. Some people do really like the deadlines. It's honestly a variety.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned blending the teams together. That's like a big change. Whereas before you were explicitly trying to separate them, and there was the question of like, well, there's problems with that, right?
Yeah. Well, so
but Rusty, if you want help with that and you want to know what guide I'll be using, I'll let you know. I'll likely be using a guide, or I'll be using something to kind of work through, and then make my own guide. Depends on the situation.
It just makes more sense to bring everyone back together again, and it keeps the.
As it? I'm sorry, man.
Like the games are. There's just technical.
Also, Path of Exile is on PlayStation.
Like in sync for both games, and that
you
kind
can
of stuff.
play it on
so many
PlayStation.
elements that make it better to have everyone merged together, I think.
I imagine it helps with the cross-pollination.
Better on
games.
PC, but
pausing, which is
for sure.
one of my most wanted quality of life improvements. That's a phenomenal announcement. But I certainly see people asking about things like WASD and stuff like that. And this support for the future is...
Unfortunately, WASD just can't really happen because... Well, okay, I say that, but there's the thing, right? So effectively, in order for WASD to happen, we would need to be able to change the rigs over to the POE2 character rigs. In order for that to happen, we need to get all the micros ported over, and then we'd need to port all of the armors from POE1 over to those rigs as well. So it would be a really long-term thing. Yeah. There might be a world one day where that can happen, but it's certainly a long process to get that.
That's what I was kind of wondering is like, do you envision a situation where Path of Exile 1 is like warrants that sort of massive effort in a year or two or something like that?
Once we've got all the microtransactions ported, which we're doing anyway, then it wouldn't be like so bad. I mean, it would be a lot, but not like not like completely unreasonable. So it's a thing that could happen, but it's a lot of effort to get that feature. So the main reason to do it isn't even for WSD. It's because we've been pretty unable to make new combat animations for POE1 for so long due to all of the problems with the rigs. So if the main reason to do it would be that we can make like new actual melee skills properly again. That would be the reason. I mean, hopefully we can get to that. It's just it'll take a while though.
A lot of the skills you'd notice, and if people have been playing POE1 for years, any of the new skills we add often just reuse the same animations.
Exactly.
And they're not exactly the most...
I don't mind using guide. It takes a while for me to get accustomed to some games. Yeah, I mean, that's just...
Flurries with like your swords and
like I said,
and all that kind
it's
of
going to
stuff.
be the smartest way to go. honestly.
You still obviously have Cyclone, where you just spin in a circle, you know, and if you remove all the effects from that, you're literally just on a pivot doing this. It looks a little bit silly, but
I mean, I am keen to do it though. Like it's just it'll take a while.
Yeah. It's I feel like I notice the kind of an increasing disparity between like the bosses in PoE 1 kind of like pushing further ahead because you have a bit more freedom, I guess, to use more modern.
Well, the bosses are new, like new content, right? So yeah, they get to just and the engine's the same, so you get to use all the modern tech for completely new content.
So they're looking like better and better and better, but the players are kind of staying a bit behind. So
don't need to rig anything to the bosses. They don't need to equip 10,000 microtransactions, thankfully.
So that's a unique challenge for you, but it seems like you've got a plan of kind of like how to approach it potentially.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. So while we're on this kind of like frank discussion, is like something that people often have been mentioning is this idea that like maybe they love Path of Exile 1, but they're not that interested in Path of Exile 2. And they maybe feel like their money when they buy a supporter pack for Path of Exile 1 is going to a company that's developing both games, and one of those being something that they're maybe not that interested in.
Right. Well, I mean, like ultimately, you know, like now that we're kind of in the shared model, like it's kind of. It doesn't really, it's sort of hard for us to say, like, you know, that like money goes to one particular team or another. Like it doesn't really work like that because we're all merged. The main thing is just to understand is that when we're in PoE 1 development mode, then PoE 1 takes precedence.
I'm not a fan of Path of Exile 2 personally.
Like, there's not going to be we can't do this because
not right now. I'm sure that'll change once traps are available in Path of Exile 2 and more things that are available, but it's a beta right now. So like playing it now is going to be completely different from playing in the future. So it won't make a difference. You're not missing anything, you know? For Path of Exile 2.
Right, in this moment because it's in the last week, but it's kind of variable. Like I mean, if you look at things like the, you know, I mean, you've probably got a better idea of the breakdown. But it's like how much of the VFX team is working on PoE 1 versus 2, and like the last, you know,
the whole all but 1 is currently on PoE, all but 2. I guess that doesn't really make sense. They don't know how many. So 80% of the team is on PoE 1 right now.
But it's kind of variable through the months.
But like you know, the dynamic thing is because obviously we had like 021 for PoE 2 that we're working on, and like yesterday I moved some people onto that, quickly got some stuff across the line, literally 2 hours later moved them back, and like it's like pretty hyperactive,
right?
Like, but honestly, that's kind of how our leadership style is. We kind of just we're a little bit crazy.
But I also think that developing 0 to 1 at the same time is kind of proof that it's possible. You know, like to make sure that we can actually support both games at the same time.
I mean,
with the level of support we need. I mean, you know, there's those videos even that were made by the, you know, like we're getting more people. It's like we can kind of manage it. So you know,
I do feel like this is a positive upswing in that regard. Like it was definitely a bit of wavering there for a while, but I mean, went from a 1-game studio to a 2-game studio.
One thing to note, and this is you say about the bosses going up and the characters, you know, saying so, like that is also because we are, you know, it is very, very, very useful in the same sense that certain game features get taken from one game to another. Like we see a lot of the quality of life stuff come to PoE 1. Those bosses are, you know, animated or rigs from PoE 2 that we have like fully remodeled and reskinned. So you get to reuse that entire animation set. Sure, you got to tweak some stuff. But then, like, you can have one animation be 8 different skills if you know, put your mind to it and actually design the different outcomes.
Awesome.
So you end up with this thing where...
All right, maybe we're done here.
We're actually harvesting a lot of materials back from PoE 2 to 1. And this is how we're going to be able to get even more bosses, even more monsters, even more of that content just all the time.
It's like...
It's in ways where players can't tell though. Like it's really you wouldn't.
Some people might be able to see. Wait, I feel like I've seen that before, maybe, but you'd have to look real close and be real into it.
Yeah.
And so obviously, I know me saying it removes the allure of it, but like it is like
it's not too bad.
Beneficial to be able to harvest all that art.
I think we're gonna start playing games now because they're just talking about different updates and everything, and I don't really care honestly. The difference between PoE 1 and 2 and stuff like that. I'm pretty glad with the quality of life stuff, and I'm pretty glad about all that. So that was cool. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go into live split. Let's open this up as administrator, wherever it is. Let's start the split. OEM 5. What is that, number 5? So if I just hit 5, no. Also no. Okay. What is this? Why is that button clear? Okay. Cool. So even if I'm clicked out of here, no. Okay. Cool. Whatever. We'll move this back after we open this bad boy up. Where is it? Cool. Let's fire it up. Okay. Let's try again. There we go. Oh, I should like kind of, there we go. And we can do the sound. Okay.
They'll never see me coming.
So we're playing the hardcore. One death equals permanent character loss. So just so you guys know what's going on here. You die, you die. I was pretty happy about the announcements. A little disappointed that they're going to be doing nerfs, but like kind of like expected. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't make sense if they didn't nerf anything. I kind of have to figure out what exactly it is that I'm going to be playing for the next season. Originally, I was using PS, which was a special skill that is like a great bosser and great basically all around everything. You could boss with it, you can do pretty much anything with it, but probably gonna gut it. I don't know how much they're gonna gut it, but they're gonna gut it. We'll have to see. Likely in the next couple of days, we'll practice some Path of Exile League starts. Let's see what we want to do with that. Just to practice the early game. Speed through it. We do want to kind of kill this stuff as fast as possible. I know I'm not even leveling myself up, but it's because we have an experience shrine. Cool.
The rogue's test is done.
We'll use that skill point later on. Not really too worried about it right now. That's a pretty big... We want to get to level 6 as fast as possible. We're actually in pretty good shape. We would typically be level 3 here, and we're already level 4. We only care about these guys if they're, typically if there's a lot of them like that, they'll give us a ton of experience, or if they are, an elite pack in some way. We could tell by seeing that their name is Minion. We are looking for 2-socketed armors. That sells for money. Okay, we are wearing that, which is good. I'm just looking here. Oh, we don't want to go to the burial grounds. So, like, this gigantic pack of monsters here. Like, I have no problem killing all these guys, because there's a chance of getting a 2-socketed claw as well. And that bumped us up 30% for almost nothing, experience-wise. Ooh, scary. There we go. Scary, scary. There's automatically an elite pack around these stones, so we are going to kill this elite pack.
These stones hold an ancient power.
Don't really want a chipped emerald as the item, but that's okay. Alright, so another experience shrine, which is pretty huge. Looks like the entrance to the underground passage is right here. So we're going to kill things as we go through the underground passage. This is a level 4 zone. There should be 1 or 2 elite packs as we walk through. If we kill 1 or 2 elite packs, we're going to be level 6. Unfortunately, this is just not it. Let's go over here. Those are not elite. This is an elite pack here. Ooh. Okay, we got TP scroll. Oh, that's why. Cool. Alright, let's get this rolling. Whoop. Wow. So the exit is either north of us, or the exit is west of us. We'll see. If we're lucky, it's north of us. It is north of us. That's amazing. Okay, this becomes regular move. Elite pack dies almost instantly. We'll have to see if Charcy has a two-handed, oh, that's another elite pack. We'll have to see if Charcy has another two-handed, or not two-handed, two-socketed claw for us. You get so lost in this game. It's mostly, like, it's Diablo 2 with extra steps, is basically the best way I can describe it. Technically, I went out of my way a little bit to gain a little bit more experience because I had an experience shrine. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to follow the road, and that's where you're supposed to go. Come on. There we go.
I need mana. I can't carry anymore.
I need to do this. This. That gives us double. That gives us 20% deadly strike. Having the dagger. And let's go from there. We're already making really good time, so we're gonna go ahead and do the cellar. Stony skin. There we go. Let's pick up some other health. So I'm kind of racing a little bit. I'm going as fast as I can to essentially see how well I'm doing.
Not enough mana.
That's why I have the little thing on there for the speed. And this is a level 7 area. All the monsters give a lot of experience because there's an elite pack in every floor. The reason why we're even doing this is because at the very end of all the floors, there's an enemy that drops runes, and we need a 3 rune word claw at the end of normal difficulty in order to basically play the game and not have a terrible time or a hard time. We're also kind of leveling up a little bit. Inadvertently. Now you can use daggers or claws for this build, so we are using a dagger right now, but potentially we'll be using a claw.
I am overburdened.
Who knows when we'll get the claw that we want, but
I need mana.
we'll see. We need a 3-socketed claw. Typically, it won't be until at least Act 2. But if we're lucky, we get some good runes now. So she dropped no runes at all. Okay. Cool, man. This. Cool stuff, man. And then we do this. And then we do... okay. Trade. Alright. And then we need to do these. Get rid of these. this is better than the one I have. Okay. Poison resist 7%. It's pretty good. Let's put these here. Let's get this. And I think that puts us where we need to be. Alright. Little bit of inventory management. Most importantly, that quilted armor goes there. We're going to need that for later. And then we need to... oh, we don't have Darkwood or Black Marsh. We're going to have to walk from the beginning. That's okay. Or we're going to have to walk from the tower down. That's okay.
Hi. Good evening.
See if you have any claws for me. You do. Thank you. Alright. And then lightning, fire, put those on. 23 to 43. I just want to look. 23 to 43 or 14 to 24. Yeah, so it's double DPS. Okay. Cool. Okay. So what did we just do? We doubled our DPS. We bought a 2-socketed claw. We socketed it with lightning and fire damage. Another alternative would have been to socket it with cold damage, but it wasn't available. We didn't get a gem for that. We sold everything that we picked up for the most part. We have about 4,000 gold remaining, which is plenty. It's fine. We will keep picking up random items that are worth some semblance of gold to drop. We did waste some time by not hitting a waypoint before we went up the tower, but that's okay. So we lose maybe a minute or two in this. And we're in pretty good shape. The only thing that we need to do is we need to find runes. Now, the first rune word that we need is level 17, and it's specifically for our armor. And the second rune word is going to be for our weapon, and that's not until level 21. So we have some time before we have to worry too much about that. But in the meantime, all the enemies that I hit should be dying pretty fast in like one hit. Because the trap that we're shooting goes back and forth. So it's pretty cool. And we're going to be playing solo self-found, which means that we're not getting help from any of the gameplay that we did previously. We're not going to be doing anything like that. So everything is... we're on our own. So...
Such corruption in this place.
It's an elite pack, so we'll kill that. I'll pick up some rings, see what those are. We know from that waypoint being there that it's up here, so we'll go up here. That's a chip sapphire that we needed to make it cold damage, but I don't even know why I picked it up. It doesn't matter anymore. Another elite pack. Kill those when we can. So we're looking at the map overview. It looks like the entrance is likely going to be the bottom right. So we're going bottom right. There's another elite pack here. We want to be careful. People with archers can really hurt us. We notice the stairs that are over here. And the more points you put into Blade Sentinel, the more the stronger it's going to be. Elite pack behind an open door or behind a closed door, which is nice. Another elite pack. Open the door, please. Seemed like an elite pack, but it wasn't. Can be a scary elite pack. What a weird spot. So charms at the beginning of the game, especially in this game, when you're using a class like this and the ability that I'm using, can you open the door? Thank you. Any elemental damage that we get from melee attacks is very, very strong. So any elemental damage that we can get is super good. We're not going to use any potions right now because we're about to level, so get all that back. There you go. Open the door. Ooh. Oh, we could have kind of stocked up a little bit here. I think the entrance to the exit is the top right here. Just going in the other directions. It is not. Ugh. So this has a really shitty exit then. So either the exit is in the middle, like down here. Or the exit's all the way to the left. Nope, it's all the way to the left. That sucks. Some of these exits to the jail maps are really poor. And poor at best. So. What the fuck? Okay. Where is the exit? Directly left? I've never seen the exit like this before. It is. It's directly left. So fucking stupid. Okay, well. Was what it was. There it is. We kill Bone Ash because it's like it's free elite to kill. Literally just a free elite. Potion. Game will alert me if there's anything relevant that drops, but there's a few items that, like, if they drop, they'd be really useful, unique-wise. Will they drop? Probably not, but... Actually, the worst luck. In some time, figuring out where the hell I'm supposed to be going here. Because normally you kind of cover the patterns, like there's certain ways to walk that normally the exit's on. It's very rare for it not to be in those areas, and so far it hasn't been in those areas 3 times. So... like, normally the exit's not up here. Normally the exit's bottom right. So, 4 times. Oh, well. Not a big deal at all, honestly. Here? Nope. It's definitely not here. Definitely not here. It's not there either. I feel like I'm going crazy here. Half an hour for finishing Act 1 is a little slow. Well, I kind of have to make a guess. Apparently it hasn't been anywhere I've predicted so far either. So we'll just go away and see what happens. The absolute last place it could be. Again, never seen it back here in a weird area next to a chokehold like that before, but okay. Guess it is. Nope, other potions, okay. We clear out the enemies a little bit here. That's the end of that. Can't die here.
What death becomes you, Ondariel?
It's actually really strong. Yeah, that's really, really strong. That dagger is insane. The add 2 to 4 damage is like so crazy. Fire res. More poison res. Plus 3 to minimum damage. 65 to 75 damage is like, wow. Okay.
Welcome, and the Sisterhood welcomes you.
I'll put that to good use.
Your presence honors. Now that
32 and 33, so that's 33. There we go. Yeah, these blades are actually going to deal massive damage. To deal 65 to 75 damage this early is pretty nuts. We need to find a 3-socket claw is pretty much the main concern that we have at this point. And staying alive, but like that should be fine, honestly. Hit level 3 already. We hire this mercenary early because she can use a crossbow. Crossbow makes it so that you you lower their physical res by 5%, and we are only doing physical, like our main damage is deal type is physical, so we're dealing a ton of damage. Pretty sexy, hitting elite there. Nice. Badman died pretty fast.
I'll put that to good use. I'll put that to good use.
Vengeance. They say.
good to see you.
Oh, okay. Both go into there. I'm okay with that.
I know.
And she doesn't sell a 3-socketed claw, right? Just 2-socketed. Okay. 37. I thought I hit it right, but I wasn't. Apparently I did not hit it right. It's kind of important that we potentially get out of here. Well, it's potentially important that we get into Act 4 at level 20. And it's extremely important that we get to Act 5 at level 24 or better. Because otherwise we won't be able to gain experience from Bale. So I need this at 37, I need this at 37. Okay, that's done. This is there. Looking for the entrance to get the cube. Excuse me. Haven't seen a waypoint yet either. Waypoint's right here, it looks like. So now we're just looking for the entrance. Very weird map design here. Here it is. Halls of the Dead. We kind of have to take a guess as far as where it is. If it's very dense, we'll kill a bunch of enemies there, and then we'll move on. Pretty good at going the wrong direction. Excited when we get to the right direction. We're also looking for a 3-socketed kite shield as well. So we're kind of on the lookout for a few bases that we'll potentially need. There we go. Look at that. Not always going in the wrong direction. Nice. Take that. We kind of have a shitty shield right now, so this could potentially be decent. Not bad. Better than our light shield. Also gives us mana per kill, which is super nice. Third time's a charm, my friends.
I can't carry anymore.
Alright. Let's go back to town and unload some items.
You stay a while and listen.
How may I help you?
That's the rare one. I could probably sacrifice some minimum damage for a bunch of res and stuff like that.
How do I know it? Hello.
What's the max sockets on that? 2. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if the entrance is over here first before we go all our way for nothing, and it's not, so we're gonna go this way. Going this way. So we're looking for the waypoint in the Far Oasis. We're also looking for, we're also looking to go underground to do all that. Beetle Burst, a lot of experience. I thought the waypoint was there, and it wasn't. No bueno. There's a long-awaited rune. First one. Level 15 already. Oh, we got a shard. Well, at least I don't have to go down there, but still, it's weird. I don't know why I couldn't open the door. Layer 3. And an L room. All right. I want it. Damn. That's a lot of added lightning damage, actually. That's huge.
It is an honor to...
Thus,
Alright, so because it was there... Say it might be down here. I think there's potentially a rune word I could make now, which is tier L. I don't know how much I would want to do that, though. I don't think it's particularly strong. But it is a choice that I can make. Didn't really need the waypoint there, but that's okay. Okay.
Dark magic.
Okay.
Darker tomb.
Thank you. Hmm. I mean, we will be potentially doing tombs until we hit at least level 20, 21, but this is a nice alternative to tombs. It's a level 14 area. It's a pretty big map. I've never seen a map for Claw Viper Temple this large before. It's level 1. It's crazy. New one for me.
Good day. Good day.
I'll buy it anyway, but just to see. Let me look up that rune word real quick. Real quick. Claw rune words. Steel. Yeah, steel is tier L. I don't know if that would really even be good for me. Doesn't feel good. M tier with the crushing blow is pretty nice though. And obviously pattern is like really good. Nothing else in here. Okay.
The sanctuary. Horizon's obsession.
I think it is top right. It is top right.
Horizon, your decoy is dead.
Triangle. Oh man, I think I'm actually gonna go take a nap. Oh man. I think I'm gonna go take a nap. Let's save. Let's take a look to see if they said anything else here. No, so nothing else. We're just looking at patch notes now. PathofExile.com. Where do we have our patch notes? Where do we have our patch notes? We have our patch notes right here. Okay, patch notes. Patch notes, patch notes, patch notes. Let's find some music for these patch notes. All right. So we're going to go through the patch notes. Tell you what I'm excited about, tell you what I'm not excited about, tell you what I'm going to be bitchy about. Go through that. So, first things first, Terran's different realities within the Atlas have begun to appear. The originator of these realities have entangled itself within the very fabric of the Atlas and are now trapped. Track down the source of the tears and uncover the secrets within. So what's basically going to happen is what's been explained to us is you're going to see tears, these really interesting things in maps, and they're going to be in high tier maps, and then you'll be able to interact with them to potentially meet up new bosses, which is pretty cool. Their bosses drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying. And we will go from there. The actual challenge, the league itself, is based on mercenaries that you can potentially hire or thrash and take their items, which is actually really nice. Like, so this league is really nice in regards to items, because every time you interact with the mercenary stuff, you can take one of their items. Their items are rolled better typically than your items. And so, like, if they just have a decent rare, you can take them off their hands and then roll them or do whatever you want with them. So I would say that, generally speaking, really solid. Gonna be potentially pretty good. So I like it. New content and features. They tell you about the orbs. There's 20 new uniques, some of which can only be obtained by dueling mercenaries. We won't know about them until that happens. Added 5 new divination cards. We won't know what those are until afterwards. Rogue Harbor can be accessed through a pin in the world map after you travel there once. Alternatively, use the heist command and chat in town and hideout areas. The maximum number of players in a single instance of the Rogue Harbor has been halved. Oh my god. That is so good. Oh my god. You have no idea how good that is. Wow. That's so good. I'm screenshotting that. Wow. So there used to be a tremendous amount of lag whenever you were in an area where there was a bunch of heist people, and now they've made it so that the maximum is halved. So you don't run into that situation anymore where you're dealing with a ton of lag. It's good. Some endgame changes. Breach splinters being dropped during the encounter automatically collected and dropped to your location when the breach concludes. That's obviously really nice. Atlas memories have been removed. Existing items will be deleted upon logging in, and existing memories have been removed. Introduced some new red tier Keurig missions. So they changed some of the Keurig stuff. Commonly found scarabs now drop at a higher stack quantities, but are found less often. Using an Orb of Horizons on an Elder Guardian map rerolls to a different one. Completing a non-unique map at a lower tier, a tier lower than it's naturally found, no longer grants map bonus objective completion. Interesting. Further improved level generation of blighted maps so they fail to open less often. Again. The following maps have been added back to the Atlas. So... I'm a big fan of Park and Peninsula. Waste Pool is also really good. Waterways is okay. And then these were removed. So Burial Chambers was removed, so yeah. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled. Some of the map bosses you're required to defeat to upgrade your Pantheon has been changed as a result of these Atlas changes. So that means we're going to have to figure all that out again. Crafting recipes have been shuffled, and the ones that are previously unlocked in maps have been removed from blah 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 blah. The straight and narrow notable Atlas passive has been replaced with the new Miner's Strike notable, which prevents ore deposits and Calgaron scares from appearing in your maps. Okay. Settlers is added to the core game. We will have to fuck with that. And there's now 5 job rankings instead of 10 for your workers. That's good. Betrayal rework. So we read all about this before. We kind of did research on this before. Honestly, really good to get into Betrayal this time around, but you know. Okay. Arcane Surge buff now provides 20% increased cast speed. Okay. Alright, so let's just do one thing. Power. Gutted. Wow. Duh. So Power Siphon has gotten basically a 35 to 40% damage nerf, it looks like. Right? Like, let's... 14, 28, 28 plus 20 is 56, minus 140. Yeah. So I was right. It's about 35 to 40% damage nerf. And a higher attack speed, but that doesn't really matter. A lot of nerfs. So Animated Guardian is pretty huge. They retain their items when they die. However, if your Animated Guardian dies, you cannot summon an Animated Guardian again in that area unless that area is a hideout. And then Bane of Condemnation has a base cast time, so this was nerfed. But the damage is better for Bane. Blade Blast of Unloading was buffed. Dagger Detonation was buffed. Blade Fury of Incision was buffed. It's a really strong buff to Blade Fury with the quality. Provides 0 to 20% more damage while at max stages. Interesting. Buff to Blight for the late game. I'm less worried about these weird skills. Cold Snap buff. Contagion buff at the late game, but nerf in the early game. Like a little bit of a nerf. Cyclone. Cyclone how now was buffed. And you get more area of effect per 0.1 meter additional melee strike range instead of more movement speed with quality. Okay. Interesting. Essence Drain received a small buff. Exsanguinate received a small buff. Actually, a pretty significant buff, but nobody uses it as a base skill. They just use it as a map clear. Now I'm looking at all the other traps. I'm looking at other base things to see. Power Siphon of the Archmage got a huge nerf. The Siphoning Trap got a pretty big... Siphoning Trap kind of got a big, big buff. Splitting Steel. Projectiles can no longer return. Now has 120% to 380% effectiveness of base and added damage at gem levels 1 to 20. And now has a base radius of 0.8 to 1.2. Seems bad. Seems not good. Arcane Surge was buffed significantly. Supported Skells doing 35% more spell damage versus 10 to 25%. So you get an extra 10% more spell damage. Who just messaged me? Okay. Archmage now has added lightning damage equal to 10 to 16% of unreserved max amount, previously 10 to 19%. So that's a very tiny nerf. A teeny nerf. Awakened Spell Echo is just straight fire. Like, basically buffed. Like, super buffed. And damage with hits to be unlucky. Oh, Devouring Diadem is a lot worse now. It's not +1 the level of socketed gems. Wow. The Ralakesh's Impatient unique boots now have one of either. Count as having maximum number of endurance charges. Count as number of having maximum frenzy charges. Or count as having maximum number of power charges. They now also have 15-25% increased movement speed and immune to corrupted blood. That's insane. Drop chance of Orbs of Regret have been lowered. What is Avian Pursuit? Einhar's Memory of Harvest Beasts. Oh, because memories are gone. That's why. Yeah, it makes sense. Ruthless specific changes. We'll never deal with that. could get 3 Smuggler's Caches previously too. That's totally worth it for 6 chaos. It's insane. Insane. So, POE skills. So what we have to do is we have to find a definition of hit. A hit applies a discrete amount of damage to a target instantaneously. The damage can be 0 due to mitigation, but can never be negative. Damage dealt by hits is always one of the 3 damage sources. So, and consists of any 5 damage types. Okay. So, if we decided to do the new notable calculated risk, which causes your critical strike chance to be lucky and damage with hits to be unlucky, then we would potentially we would have unlucky damage, but we wouldn't need as many skills to crit. I mean, it feels like Ice Trap is kind of the way to go, huh? Am I wrong? Or the tried and true Seismic Trap? But Ice Trap is like... can be very strong. The only problem is that it's not a projectile, so see, lightning traps are projectiles. Or we could do Icicle Mine. Which basically needs no introduction. It's really, really strong. You would essentially have a 100% crit chance with every mine. Maybe we go Icicle Mine. Higher class minor projectile as well? It is. No projectiles. An arc doesn't count as a projectile, unfortunately. We can kind of look at the skills that have projectiles. Oh, we could do ball lightning. Those are pretty strong when we did it. I don't understand what the difference is here. Excuse me. Unlike the original skill, this transfigured version fires less projectiles and does not fire projectiles in random directions when the detonated mine, instead firing them in the direction of a specific enemy. Additional projectiles spread in a cone similar to typical projectile behavior. Okay. So it deals more damage. Has a higher reservation, lower damage effectiveness, and instead it provides a significantly stronger aura against enemies. Interesting. Wow, there are lots of people doing live streams right now for POE. Yeah. We're all trying to determine and figure out, like, exactly what it is that our plans are for this. Item-wise, we're trying to figure this out. But Icicle Mine is a pretty good choice. Icicle Mine of Banning. Overwrites projectile requirements. Also not nerfed. I don't like how how Lightning Trap works, honestly. Not a fan. The transfigured version has a higher reservation and lower base damage, but its debuff aura adds significantly more fire damage to hits against affected enemies. It also has better added damage effectiveness. If I wanted to go Pyroclast mine. The difference is that with Icicle Mine and a wand, you are, and with that passive of crits being lucky, like, let's do critical lucky. Okay, so Path of Exile, Lucky Crit chance. I calculated exactly how much crit chance does Lucky give you. So I did it all in my head because it's Born a Math Genius. Yeah, okay, dude. So I feel like it's like this with the spell suppression chance as well. So if your suppressed chance is lucky, it's got to roll in the same degree, in the same pattern, in the same way. So we would have to get our crit to 75 to ultimately get to 93% lucky chance or higher. Yeah, it doesn't feel worth it to me. Maybe we potentially skip that node, actually. Cause your critical strike chance to be lucky and damage with hits to be unlucky. Because damage with hits to be unlucky is like really bad. Really not great. You half all your damage and you have almost 100% chance to crit, but potentially you can always crit, you know what I mean? So what does this one do? Less damage effectiveness and does not gain any critical strike chance. Instead, it gains added lightning damage based on your maximum mana. So it's like having Archmage. Got it. So this has been changed. The attack damage is now 90% of your base, up to 140% of your base from what we read. 90 to 105%, which is previous 140 to 159. So it's 90 to 105%. Go to this. All right, so supported skills deal 30 to 11% less damage. Aiming behavior. What is the aiming behavior on this thing? Oh, because mine's using supported skills always target your location. I see. Interesting. Attack skills, they use bows or wands. Attack skills. And we would want wands. Maybe. Kinetic bolt. Huh? Kinetic bolt. kinetic bolt of fragmentation plus our passive plus locust mine. Maybe. I don't know why Power Siphon still has the effectiveness is added damage is higher on it. I don't know, we may just be going Power Siphon again, but I'm actually interested in Kinetic Bolt here. Be something to play test. We'll try it. But well, that's all I got. We're gonna be doing more research later on, but we'll think about everything and kind of go from there. But the I think that Icicle Mine might be good. It's also not nerfed and it overwrites the projectile requirements. Could be good instead. Or using Kinetic Bolt, KB of fragmentation, you can shotgun enemies, and then potentially with the 50% projectile gain back, you can basically like obliterate bosses. I feel like that would be pretty crazy, but we'll see. We'll have to see. I think that the new Saboteur ability, which is the calculated risk, which causes your critical strike chance to be lucky and the damage with hits to be unlucky, is kind of shit. I'd have to really look at it, because my problem with that is that in order for you to benefit from that, your critical strike chance has to be around 75%. But if you can get your crit strike chance to 75%, you probably can get it to 100. It's kind of like, it's weird. You know what I mean? And your hits being unlucky means that all of your damage is nerfed. Like, you have all of your damage. So, but, big but, with the Kinetic Bolt of fragmentation, that may not matter, because you're having a ton of projectiles, so it doesn't matter that you're nerfing it at half, because you're shotgunning anyway. So, we'll see. Something to think about. But that's all I got. That's my my thought process on the matter. We'll take a look at this, and we'll be doing some play testing and going from there. So thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out, Rusty. Tomorrow maybe some DDR, but we'll see, because tomorrow is Friday and I have to start getting ready for parties and things like that that's going on. I gotta cook, so we'll see. But see ya.